But there's no prophet, I think, that I know of that gave their followers prayers for everything. It's just amazing. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave prayers for every act that human beings do. And this is an age where they're recognizing all the benefits. You know, this is a civilization, it takes them a very long time to work things out, you know, the Europeans, and by extension the American people that are from Europe. It takes them a very long time to work things out. Like Muslims worked out that comfortable shoes are really important because you spend a lot of time in shoes. It took them like a couple thousand years to work that out. So now they finally have comfortable shoes. And they make shoes without heels, so you can just slip into them. Like Muslims work that out. Like now they don't have shoelaces anymore. Like Muslims never had shoelaces because they take off their shoes all the time, right? It's very interesting. But they've worked out that mindfulness is really important. So now if you're working in a corporation, they'll have a seminar on mindfulness to help you deal with all the stress, right? But here's the question. What is their mind full of? So I wanted to find out where mindfulness came from. And it's actually a translation, even though it's found even in the 16th century, but it actually came from a translation of a Hindu text by an Oxford professor in the 1880s. And he was translating a word which means the remembrance of God. I'm not making this up. So that's how the word came in. It was originally meant to be the remembrance of God. And he translated it as mindfulness. So that's real mindfulness, is remembering God. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ did. كَانَ يَذْكُرُ اللَّهَ فِي كُلِّ أَحْيَانِهِ. Aisha radiallahu anha said in the Sahih that he remembered Allah in all of his states. And he said the best thing that you can do is remember Allah. And one man asked him, he said, Ya Rasulullah, katharat alayya shara'i al-Islam. There's so many rules now. دُلَّنِي عَلَى شَيْءٍ أَتَشَبَّثُ بِهِ. Give me something I can hold on to. And he said, لَا يَزَالُ لِسَانُكَ رَطْبًا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Let your tongue always be moist with the dhikr of Allah. So that's one of the most important things in our life, is just to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not easy to do these prayers. I'm telling you from real many attempts at trying to like do a whole day where I don't forget a prayer. It's not easy to be mindful because the mind just, it tends to get distracted very easily. We're very distractible creatures. And the word distraction in Latin, distractere, means to be pulled apart, right? And that's why distracted in older English meant crazy, a crazy person. So Bethlehem or Bedlam in England was a hospital for the insane, and their tag was Bethlehem, a hospital for the incurably distracted. The incurably distracted. And you can see how somebody would, you know, the thing about people, and may Allah protect us from losing our minds, because it's a ibtila, it's a huge ibtila, and a lot of people are losing their minds today. And the Prophet, one of the things he said about these latter days is he said, تَعْزُبُ عُقُولُ أَهْلِ ذَلِكَ الزَّمَانِ. Their intellects would go. So part of it is all this dementia and Alzheimer's. Even young people now, younger and younger people are getting these diseases. But also the madness of the time, like not knowing definitions of a male and a female. I mean, that's a type of madness. And these poor people, like when you see them, you be careful, don't mock people. The Prophet didn't mock people. When he saw people in tribulation, he said, and it's one of my favorite du'as, and I say it a lot, Alhamdulillah alladhi afani mimma ibtaraka bihi wa faddalani ala kathiran mimman khalaqa tafdila. Praise be to the one who has protected me, given me a state of well-being, and not afflicted me with what you're afflicted with. He didn't say it out loud, obviously, because it would have hurt the feelings of that person. But that's what he said when he saw somebody in tribulation. He would praise Allah, and he said, Iyakum shamata. He said, don't have Schadenfreude. Don't be happy when you see your enemies harmed or afflicted, because he said Allah might ya'fuhum wa yabtalik. He might give them afiyah, well-being, and give you the tribulation that they had. And somebody said nobody will expose the faults of anybody except that Allah will try them with that fault before they die. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, veil people. Why do you want to expose people? But that shamata is a really dangerous thing. So when you see mad people, just be grateful that you're not mad. And there's a lot of unhinged people. There's a lot of really unwell people. It's just an age. I mean, we can see it out there. I think about it in my own self, because I get very frustrated on the phone when they put you on this hold and say, for 1, dial 2, for 2, dial 3. And you're like, after about 10 minutes of this, 15 minutes of your life that you'll never get back. With this music, like this deathly music, like zombie music, And then I'm thinking, like, I've got all these like sabr and like all these principles that I know, and I'm thinking about people out there who don't have a practice, who don't have any means of, I swear, a man rode his bike up here, and he got to the top of the hill, and he was maybe in his 30s, and I said, can I help you? Like, genuinely, because he was looking at his thing, and I thought maybe he was lost or something, I don't know. I said, can I help you? He said, why do you guys always ask me that? He just literally looked at it, and I was like, whoa. And then he just says, get out of my face or something. And I said, hey, hold on, can I talk to you for a second? And then he says, why come up here? And they always say, what, like you don't want me up here or something, the gate's open. And I was like, and the thing about experiences like that, here I am mentioning it because it affected me. Like, you're getting somebody else's negativity, and they're really, like, you can feel it. It's very unpleasant, and sometimes it's hard to shake that off. Like, it might stay with you for the rest of the day if you're not careful. Or you start thinking about it, or obsessing over it, like, what happened, what went wrong there. But that's more and more the way, and this is not, I'm old enough to remember, it wasn't like that when I was a kid, I guarantee you. Like, yesterday I was driving, and this man put his blinker on. I slowed down, because that's the way I was taught to drive. The other guy sped up to make sure he couldn't get in. And I was just like, people are out there, there's no adab on the road. What's gone wrong? Akhlaq, tarbiyah, sabr, hilm. These are the qualities that the Prophet came, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. He came to teach us how to be human. And it's not easy. People think it's a birthright. It's not a birthright. Raghib Isfahani said, Al-Jahal insilakhul insaniyati an al-insan. Ignorance is the flaying of humanity from the human being. And ignorance in Arabic is to react, to get angry. You know, the jahil is the one he reacts, like that man. That was jahil. Even if you're Einstein, if you're reacting like that, it's funny how we use that as a metaphor, like they got us. Yeah. So we should say, even if you're a Ghazali. Yeah. You know, I mean, the man who gave us the atom bomb, thanks a lot, right? And then regretted it the rest of his life. Yeah. Became an anti-nuclear after helping to, they all, Lilienthal, I mean, it's amazing, all those guys. Yeah. They call it the Islamic bomb now. Can you believe that? It's a Jewish bomb. They invented it. Our ummah would have never invented that in a million years, because the Prophet said, "La yu'adibu bin-nar illa rabbun nar." Nobody punishes with fire, and that's what nuclear bomb is. It's fire. It's a conflagration. It's radiation. It's like heat. They're incinerated. I mean, they're just the shadows of the poor Japanese people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There's just shadows. Just shadow of the person, because it was just annihilated flash. You know? But they call it Islamic bomb now. You know. I mean, poor Iran, they just don't want to get bombed. They don't want to bomb anybody. But they don't want to be bombed, because isn't it funny how the only countries that don't get attacked are the ones that have nuclear arsenals, right? I mean, North Korea, yeah, Rocket Man. That's what he's called, Rocket Man. But nobody is invading North Korea, right? Iraq got invaded, Libya, Yemen, all these countries, Kashmir. If Kashmir had nuclear, nobody would have gone in there. So you can't blame these poor people. It's a horrible thing, because now we have this madness.